Well, if you're watching this live on BCTV Channel 8, it must be 5:45 p.m., which means it's time for BCTV's Nightly News Roundup with me, tonight's host, Roland Boyden, here for a special pre-taped Town Meeting Day edition of 5:45 Live. On deck tonight, whenever you're watching this, we're going to talk a little bit about the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act, the Selectboard race, which is heating up. Got a case of slave trading charges in Vermont. We'll check in with 7 town meetings across the region, local senators, and more. All that right here on 5:45 Live.
Good morning from BUHS gym, where Brattleboro representative town meeting will start in a minute.
You can see all the work BCTV's done providing coverage of meetings.
Watch Town Meeting on BCTV. Thanks.
Welcome back to this March 5th Town Meeting Day special of 5:45 Live. That's footage of last year's town meeting coverage from across the region that BCTV rolled out in our 7 surrounding communities: Vernon, Guilford, Dummerston, Putney, Townsend, Newfane, and Jamaica. All fall within BCTV's service territory in addition to Brattleboro, and we send 7 crews out to gather town meetings in their entirety in each of those towns. We're going to get that footage for you as best we can, assembled for our Friday edition, and we'll gear you up for all the election day happenings in this here show. Now, if you're catching a rebroadcast of this in the future, it's like time travel. I get to speak to the future. Then you may just be able to watch not only these town meetings in their entirety at BrattleboroTV.org, along with all other local programming, but 5:45 Live will be posting on BCTV's Facebook page some shorts, summaries, special editions surrounding these town meetings as well. All right, with that, we'll launch right into it and talk a little bit about the Brattleboro Select Board race. Of course, it's voting day today. You have till 7 p.m. tonight to get yourself to the high school, where you can vote. It's an important race, local election, several select board seats vacated, and a slew of new candidates in a important time, tax-heavy time, lots of big-ticket items, and lots of interest. Now, Spoon Agave and Kate O'Connor are facing off for the 3-year seat, and we have John Allen, David Cadron, Ian Kill, Phil Kramer, Donna Macumber, and David Scholes all looking to take their place for a pair of 1-year seats. Now, we've got some footage assembled from some of the forums and coverage that BCTV has been working hard on to get following this race. Let's take a look.
Best kept secret in town, Chris Chapman is not going to seek re-election, and so there are 3 vacancies.
All we're looking for are candidates who care about where they live, where they make their home, and actually have an opportunity to change what happens in your life.
Brattleboro has an enormous heart. It's artistic, it's creative.
I bring my considerable experience running a business to the Select Board.
Seeing some of the other candidates, I'm like, wow, should I vote for myself or should I vote for someone else?
I have been able to come back and live here, and I want everyone to have that same opportunity.
I came here over 40 years ago, and I was able to find a niche.
People have asked me questions. Ask me any question you have. Stop me on the street if you want. I'd be happy to answer it.
I'm ready to go the day I walk in this place.
Well, November elections always see more Brattleboro residents headed to the polls, but with 3 select board seats open and vacated by incumbents, it's an especially important time to head out and vote, make a change right here in this community in Brattleboro. Now, for all the details on voting, we spoke to Town Clerk Annette Cappy.
If you want to come to the polls on Tuesday, the polls open at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we close at 7. And that's at the BUHS gymnasium. All absentees go through just like regular ballots and need to be in by 7 o'clock on election day.
All right, we'll move on here for a moment. Vermont State Police have stated that seatbelts played the key role in protecting the lives of 8 Dartmouth College students who emerged unscathed after contact with black ice sent their 12-passenger van into a barrel roll over an embankment on I-91's southbound lane. It was just over the Vernon town line. Now, as that report suggests, members of the group who were headed to an Ultimate Frisbee Championship in Axton, Virginia, were wearing their seatbelts. All right. Next up, it was now 100 years ago that Brattleboro's paper, the Brattleboro Reformer, kicked off. And this past week, they had a special celebration at their offices, which included comments from editor Tom DeRico and publisher Ed Wood about some of the things that have and haven't changed over the course of a century of reporting.
The staff has evolved over the years. The work that we do has evolved over the years. But I want everybody to realize, and our responsibility is to make sure that we deliver timely news and information in the communities that we serve.
In addition to that full YouTube video on the Reformer's YouTube page, they've put out a commemorative issue of their Weekend Reformer, which includes samples of articles from that initial paper now 100 years ago, photos of them printing it and the like, included some headlines like, "Congress Good to Vermont." My other times have changed. All right. With that, we'll move on and talk a little bit about our VSP Vermont State Police Report. All right, so Vermont State Police Report issued this week suggests that investigators have further confirmed allegations that a Ludlow resident was repeatedly sexually assaulted for more than a decade, starting when he was just 12 years old, leading the state to seek charges of slave trafficking in addition to aggravated sexual assault for the two alleged assailants, identified as Brett Bartolotta of Cavendish, Vermont, and Frank Mayer of West Haven, Connecticut. Both men are currently being held at the Southern State Correctional Facility for lack of $50,000 bail. They're not out on the streets. We'll track that case, get you more information as best we can. And we'll stay right here in the newsroom for our next story as we move on and take a look at what's going on down in Washington, D.C. with Vermont's representatives. Now, last year saw the Violence Against Women Reauthorization Act expire for the first time since 1994, pulling off the table millions of dollars and pivotal protections for victims of sexual and domestic violence. That's something that's had the bill's co-sponsor, Senator Patrick Leahy, in a perpetual state of vexation on the Senate floor. But at long last, it looks like Vermont's venerable senator will get the matching support needed from Congress, as Thursday the House gave the act their final approval. And while sections of the original legislation providing specific protections for undocumented victims in the form of emergency visas were removed from the bill that was approved by Congress, many on the left and really, I guess even the far left, have cited it as major progress, with the bill adopting protections for gay, bisexual, and transgender victims, as well as Native American victims previously left without jurisdiction over their non-Native American assailants.
No police officer ever said, is this victim gay or straight? Is this victim an immigrant or Native American? But they said, as I've said so many times on the floor, a victim is a victim is a victim.
All right, we'll stick right here and talk a little bit about some senators closer to home in this here Green Mountain state. For that, we'll go back into the stories here. On the local Senate level, Windham County's own Peter Galbraith last week joined Vermont Senators Bob Hartwell and Joe Benning at the invitation of the Friends of Grafton Heritage organization to address more than 150 residents who turned out in full force to voice their concerns over the future of industrial wind power in Vermont. Let's take a look at the clip.
We're at 3 impact rings. These impact rings are not just health risks. These are considered high health risks. Time has gone on here. We're sick.
All right, a few things to wrap up here on the special town meeting day morning edition of 545 Live. We're going to check in with our new intern, Marco Skorstad, who's been putting together our slopes report, checking out what's going on for ski and snowboarders all around Vermont. All right, let's head to the chairlift, head to the ski lift, and take it away.
This is the ski report from the surrounding area coming to you from your own BCTV. First, we will hear the conditions and the report from Mount Snow. All but 2 trails are open for skiing, and the depth of the snow is around 51 inches at the top, 42 in the middle, and around 35 at the bottom. The snow is a hard-packed powder and is very fast. Moving on to Bromley Mountain. All trails are open, and 5 out of 8 lifts are open. The snow is around 48 inches deep at the top, 28 inches in the middle, and around 20 inches at the bottom. The conditions have been classified as good by the mountain, and so are the temperatures. Lastly, we take a look at the Stratton Resort. There are 93 out of 94 runs open, and 9 out of 13 lifts. The snow depths are around 48 inches at the top, 38 inches in the middle, and 30 inches at the bottom. This seems like a great week to go skiing. Everything looks great.
All right, and we'll wrap up with a look at a few more things going on here, including our new on BCTV feature. And for that, we'll fire up the fancy new on BCTV graphics and start with Frank Bryan's Concrete Culture and Community. This is part of the first Wednesday lecture series at Brooks Memorial Library, taped by longtime BCTV volunteer Maria Dominguez.
What I'm trying to do is to really judge whether or not the interstate had an impact, and if so, what it was.
And we'll hit the second half of our new on BCTV by just promoting a little bit more of that town meeting coverage. 2 clicks up the dial on our government and education sister channel, Channel 10, will be jam-packed all this coming week, and week after that with 7 different town meetings.
Congress and the states should have the authority to regulate corporations and to set limits on all election contributions and expenditures. All those in favor of this motion, please indicate so by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed by saying no.
Of course, you can also find them at your leisure at BrattleboroTV.org. All right, that's enough shameless self-promotion for that, and that's enough of this special. I'm going to get back to work trying to get all these meetings corralled together, get more clips for you to check out and more. But in the meantime, stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of this sunny Tuesday. Make sure you get out and vote.